Welcome! Is this the end of budget tourism? Let's find out. Okay.
After declaring bankruptcy in 2024 and then again in 2025,
let's make this big.
2026 finally finished things off as Spirit Airlines shut down entirely about 3 weeks ago now, following their failure to secure a...
Wow. So that's like quick in, like, you know, they have like, you know, the airline, boom, boom, 1 year, second year, and bankruptcy.
Last minute government.
That is insane.
Bailout. Now, this particular business closure wasn't exactly shocking to anybody that had actually been following the company. But the end of this otherwise unremarkable low-cost carrier might be both the indication of and the cause of a wider reversal across the entire...
I actually never seen like airplanes from Spirit. Is this like American thing? United States, you know? Or is this like, you know, from somewhere else? Because I never seen those planes.
...travel industry. The last 3 decades in particular have been the golden age of budget tourism, with most significant travel-related expenses like airfares and accommodation lagging behind overall inflation to become significantly cheaper in real terms.
Okay.
For a lot of people, this was a very real lifestyle reprieve to offset a lot of other financial challenges. Sure, they may never be able to afford a home, and their career may be increasingly precarious compared to their parents. But even a basic income, potentially mixed in with a little bit of new age consumer debt, could let people see the world in a way that would...
I mean, yeah, that's true. Like, you could experience the world because, like, okay, you might not get a house because a house is like big expense, right? You might not get like a fulfilling job, but you might get like a shitty job, right? And I mean, money is money, okay. And you might, you know, use up the money to go like travel to Japan, South Korea, you know, China, places, you know. You might travel places in Asia or like in Europe if you're American, or maybe some Europeans want to travel to Europe as well. Who cares? It's actually easy to travel to Europe if you're a European, but whatever, you know? But it's like very important that the fact that like, okay, we can afford a house, we can like have a stable place to stay. Well, no, we go traveling around, exploring the world, experiencing things, right? And boom. I guess we cannot do that anymore because somebody in corporate said, make it expensive. Yeah, basically, right? And we're here now. Okay, let's continue.
Reserved for the jet set just a generation before. According to the booking company, going this time last year was the second cheapest month on record for airfares.
Yeah, oh, that's good.
The report was unlikely to change unless there were any major shocks in 2026. So, yeah.
I see. Okay.
Anyway, the reality today is there are several headwinds that are all pushing back against the trend of budget-friendly travel. And increased fuel costs are just one small part of the puzzle. The closure of Spirit may be equally the result of their own poor practices mixed in with unfavorable market conditions.
Okay.
But no matter where the finger is eventually pointed, without their low-cost seats in the market, regular airlines have much less pressure to be competitive.
Oh, actually that makes sense because like if you have a cheaper competitor, then when they are out, basically that means just you can raise the prices as high as you want. Basically, sky is the limit for them now. Oh, I guess I'm gonna be paying a lot more money next time I'm gonna be flying to UK probably. I'm very not happy about that.
On their prices, which is a dynamic playing out in far more places than just this one specific example. Travel-related expenses are up by 20% year over year, and this was already happening before we started making a distraction in Iran.
Drivers are fretting over increasing gas prices, and now airlines say they are feeling the pinch. Delta CEO said that jet fuel prices have increased dramatically since the war in Iran broke out.
More hotels are charging $1,000 or more a night.
Daniel Jacobs with True Loan Mortgage saying...
I like how he's just like, you know, adding those news bits because it's like, pain. News. I hate it here, you know?
Inflation is on the decline. Hotels and Airbnb prices are skyrocketing.
The shutdown...
Actually, that isn't say that Airbnb is skyrocketing as well. Like, I understand many things about Airbnb. Airbnb sucks because if somebody trashes your place, well, then you have to clean that up and deal with it, right? And that's why you have to like increase the prices so people don't trash the place, basically, and you can sue them as well, you know?
Was abrupt to many passengers, but this was really years in the making. Spirit was in bankruptcy. It had filed for bankruptcy twice within 1 year.
Okay, so travel has been getting more expensive across the board, and the easy explanation is that, well, everything is getting more expensive in 2026.
Yeah.
Now, fuel prices are something that is clearly worth addressing. But even before the conflict in Iran, travel-related costs were already increasing. And they were
Hold up. So it's not only fuel prices. Okay, that's news. That's news to me. Okay.
Increasing faster than overall inflation after an otherwise long period of pretty consistently getting more affordable. Now, even though it would probably make for a much more compelling video, there is not a single silver bullet that explains why this has been happening. Instead, there are a few headwinds that all need to be considered independently.
Just give us the bullet points, give us a bullet point list, and you're gonna go into the detail, smart educational class, over here. We're learning, chat.
And then, of course, they will make a lot more sense when we sprinkle the oil prices back into the equation. Okay, so the first big factor is that the travel industry has been stratifying itself for a long time now. But the last few years in particular have taken it to such an extreme that it is having a meaningful impact on budget travelers. The most obvious example of this is what happened to airline cabins.
Oh, I completely forgot about the design change of like the airline cabins, because like they've been compacted. I just forgot about that, literally. Like in America, at least, they've been compacted. In Europe, I'm pretty sure they cannot be compacted because European standards, right? We have standards over here.
Standard for most of the last 30 years has been economy for budget-conscious tourists, business for, well, mostly business people who didn't need to pay out of their own dime and whose companies were happy to pay for them to arrive at a destination more ready to get work done, and ultimately some airlines that offered first for very wealthy travelers who wanted a luxurious experience above and beyond just the comfort of business.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Just a pinch of dynamic pricing.
By the way, if anybody here, have you ever traveled in business or like first class by airplane? I never did, because I'm cheap. If you did, tell me your experience, honestly, because like I can only imagine. I can only like see YouTube videos about that.
And good old hidden fees, this model captured an overwhelming share of the market and aviation spend. Today, the average international flight has something closer to 6 individual classes you can choose from. Budget airlines, regular economy, premium economy, business class, first class, high-end first class suites, like those.
Ooh, those are the ones that I view, like watch on YouTube, and I'm like, mad thing. I would love to travel by this, and I'm like, I'm never gonna do that. But like, imagine.
It's offered by Singapore or Qatar Airlines, and then increasingly the private jet market sitting on top of all of that through services like NetJets, VistaJet.
In my opinion, personal opinion here, we should not have a private jet industry. We should literally ban private jets. We don't need those. Like, imagine all of the resources that you could put into regular airline industry instead of making private jets. We need to regulate that shit. I'm telling you, we need to do that.
And Linus's creative accounting. In just a perfect encapsulation of this issue, private jet charter companies have been struggling to keep up with demand at the same time as budget airlines are closing down. The same thing is happening across hotels, cruises, restaurants, and basically every travel experience that can be sliced into a class system. Cruise ships are potentially an even more extreme version of this. Cruises were initially pitched as one of the most cost-effective ways to take a vacation because the food and the cabin were all inclusive. So your total spend was basically locked in from the moment you booked.
Okay, yeah. I actually never traveled by a cruise. Like, I never been on a cruise ship. I've been on regular transport ships. That's like the bare minimum I've been on, to be honest.
Today, the fastest growing segment of the cruise market is ultra-premium yachts, co-branded with high-end hotels like Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis.
Okay, so we are basically turning the tourism economy into like rich people thing, basically. Literally. That's what I'm hearing here. Like, you cannot go to a cheap hotel because you're gonna die from someone extracting your liver or like anything, like they're gonna you're gonna book a room and then you're gonna probably die because somebody enters your room that's not supposed to be there. Magic, and then and for example, ships, too expensive, a flight, too expensive, hotel, too expensive, and if cheap, risky. Probably flight also, if cheap, risky. That's insane.
Yes, and Amman, with cabins that can run up to $250,000 per week.
What?
Investment into this end of the market has been enormous. largely driven by private equity firms who have clocked which way the K-shaped economy has been bending. Now, I think it's probably worth mentioning that this does not mean that they are immune from their own enshittification. Some of the initial reviews of these ultra high-end cruise ships have been hilariously bad.
Oh.
Left some toenail on the floor.
Obviously, okay. So you're gonna have people that come in to those expensive places, and then you're gonna be like nitpicky about like whatever is there. That's actually good. Yeah, you should be nitpicky. Don't let them do shit.
I definitely did not clip my toenails since I've been in this room, so the only assumption is that someone else's.
Anyway, all of this by itself shouldn't really be a problem for budget travelers. If the top half of the K wants to spend more on increasingly ridiculous accommodations while most people enjoy budget prices for budget service, well, let them eat moldy cake. If anything, the rise of budget service, well, let them eat moldy cake.
Bruh. No. Don't eat it. No.
If anything, the rise of budget airlines has been one of the great consumer wins of the last 30 years. An aggressive low-cost competition has dragged regular economy...
By the way, I'm just like, my brain is figuring out. Was he referring to Marie Antoinette at that point?
Down with it. The problem is that the low end of this market is now under enormous pressure. And as those budget options dry up, the dynamics of the whole market start to change. The clearest example of this is Spirit. With Spirit gone from the market, regular airlines that used to compete with their fares on the same routes suddenly have much...
Oh, actually, looking at this map. Okay, give me a moment. Recently, there's Off-Kai. You know, the Off-Kai is happening, right? And the people... I read a tweet about people going to... because Off-Kai is happening in California, right? And I read a tweet about someone traveling from Canada down to down to Costa Rica over here, right? And then they had to book another flight just to get to California. Because they they went to the wrong airport. They picked the wrong airport. Honestly, I wonder how you do that sometimes. How do you like I understand going from Canada to maybe a different airport in California or something. I understand that can happen. But we're going to completely different country. How do you manage that?
Less pressure to keep their own prices low. They don't even have to do anything sinister to take advantage of this. They just simply don't have to discount as aggressively as they used to. On the other end, major carriers are also figuring out that they can make a lot more money per square foot of cabin by ripping out rows of economy seats and replacing them with premium economy or business class seats with relative confidence they will be filled consistently. Lufthansa has been openly bragging that premium economy generates around 33% more revenue per square foot than regular economy, and about 6% more than full business class.
Okay, that is interesting.
For a business just trying to maximize revenue, why sell 10 economy seats to budget travelers when you could sell 4 premium economy seats for more money to people whose portfolios have done very well over the last few years?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Business-wise, yeah. Business-wise, everything here makes sense. Human-wise, I'm a person, sometimes. I'm like, bruh, this is so annoying. Piss off, big business, I want to travel places.
For those premium seats is genuinely there, so they would be kind of dumb not to displace the budget travelers. Oh, and even airlines that do want to add more economy capacity kind of can't right now. The aircraft production pipeline is a complete mess. As of April 2026, Boeing and Airbus are sitting on a combined backlog of more than 12,000 narrow-body planes.
What?
With Airbus's backlog alone representing roughly 10 years of production at current delivery.
All of those brand deals, all of those brand new deals that everybody did with Airbus, we're gonna get them in 20 years probably. Oh my days. And they're gonna be making new deals probably over time as well. I hate businesses sometimes because they are oh yeah, we're gonna do it, and they never fucking do it, and then you get pissed off,
rates. Engine supply has become the binding constraint on the entire...
Honestly, whenever you have those contracts, I swear to God, if they don't manage to pull it off over time, right? On time, actually no, on time, right? They should be sued by the countries that have those deals with them, or private companies that have those deals with them, because you said that we're gonna get them by this point here. Well, currently it's been 1 month over the time period. You didn't even give it to us now. So when is your next date? Okay, so you see, you're gonna make it, and you're gonna also be sued, so you have to pay us some money back because we've been waiting for ages. You know, that's how you deal with like businesses not managing time basically. Because like I understand that this is a complicated process, right? I understand that airplanes need to be secure, right? I don't understand why you would make a deal with like when you have like so many freaking things to produce. I understand you need money. Sure, but I believe you need to, sort out the way your business works as well. And that's me talking shit basically right now, because I hate businesses. It happens, I'm a poor guy, I'm a broke person, you're gonna make fun of me, well, obviously. But yeah, this is what happens, Like if you can't, like if the businesses can't handle themselves, you gotta hate on them. I believe, at least,
global narrow-body market.
Also, I'm not saying that these things happened. No, I'm saying they will probably happen, because this is what tends to happen. Like, either you lose the quality, so you make basically unsafe airplanes, or you don't manage on time, and then everybody is annoyed, basically.
LEAP engines from CFM International, which power both the A320neo and the 737 MAX, effectively setting the upper limit on how many new planes anyone can put in the air. Which means even if a low-cost carrier wanted to step into Spirit's empty routes tomorrow with brand new fuel-efficient planes, those planes are not available, possibly for years. All of this to say that just as...
So basically what happens is that we're going to have cheap flying again when we are basically 40, everyone. Or maybe 30, depends how young you are. But like, probably when we are 40, in our like mid-late 40s, yeah. I don't think it's worth living anymore. YouTube. Okay, pause. Don't take my video to like don't put mental health line over here. YouTube. I don't need it. I don't need mental health. But yeah, we're probably gonna have like cheap flying, by the time everybody here is 40, basically.
Something like Spirit,
or maybe by the time somebody like that is watching this video is like in his 50s or 60s. I don't know how old you are. Like I figure like most people that watch YouTube are like in their 20s, 30s, sometimes in their 40s as well. But like, yeah, it is what it is.
Airlines dragged down costs on the routes they flew from the budget end of the market. The draw of premium seats is pulling prices up as more space gets allocated to higher revenue seats. So when Spirit exited the market, the only remaining forces are all in one direction. Now, to be fair, a lot of former Spirit planes will be de-yellowed and released out there to other airlines. But those are unlikely to be focused on the bottom end of the market.
I mean, they will probably be like switched up, like they will put like new places in as well.
With such constrained supply,
so they will basically change the seating of those like tiny planes pretty much.
The existing fleet gets allocated to whichever routes and cabin configurations maximize revenue, and right now that is just serving the creamiest markets of premium economy and business.
By the way, can we mention the fact that he's talking only from American perspective, by the way, right? So if we figure things out, right, use our brains, our brain capacity is big, right? Like, this is just America. Figure this out now. You can add this to like Europe, South America. I mean, I don't know how the flying market is in Africa, so I have no idea about that, but it's very expensive as well over there. You can add that to Middle East as well, and Asia basically as a whole, pretty much, and not to mention Australia. Flying to Australia is pretty expensive if you're a European, honestly. It's insane for me that like seeing people from Australia flying to Europe. I'm like, bro, you spent how much money?
Business class. It's not great, but this alone is far from the biggest reason why your next vacation may be in the metaverse. So it's time to learn how money works to find out if the golden age of cheap travel really is over. This video is sponsored by Odoo. Odoo is the all-in-one business management platform that sales, manufacturing, e-commerce, and CRM.
Yeah, sure.
Tools that do not talk to each other. What makes Odoo work is how seamlessly it ties everything together. You sell the apps you actually need, and they share data automatically.
I like how, because he knows that most people that watch his videos are like into business and economy and stuff, and this is actually a good advertisement for like his viewers. Not for me though.
updates to inventory and accounting in real time. So you don't
So yeah, that's why. Honestly, I love the fact that YouTube added that you can just like click space and it's like two times speed.
also intuitive and highly customizable.
My favorite part of YouTube basically right now.
Software that adapts to how they work instead of the other way around. And because Odoo automates the routine stuff, invoicing, restock alerts, follow up,
Yeah.
less time doing admin work,
Okay.
tools together, and more time
Yeah.
running your business. If you want to know how
Sure.
you can streamline your own business, you can book a free meeting with an Odoo expert or try the full
Okay.
for 15 days with no credit card required, or
Yeah.
for free for life. Check it out in the description.
Ooh.
The second major factor is what
Imagine having like a ad in between this advertisement as well. Like add this thing here, the sponsorship, and another ad after that, and then you're back to the video. That would be like such a pain. That would be like literally TV level ads.
Airbnb has done to the accommodation market when you actually arrive. When Airbnb first showed up about 15 years ago, it was sold as a low-cost, no-frills alternative to a hotel, often with the host actually living in the property alongside the guests.
Yeah, honestly, I liked Airbnb while using Airbnb because, like, you know, there are like there are those camping sites, and they literally have like, you know, basically like they literally have like trailers on site that you can just use basically, right? And I've been to some of those like in the UK as well, and that was like pretty nice, honestly. That was pretty nice, and all done by Airbnb, by the way. But then you're like in places like bigger cities, like let's say, you know, Barcelona, you know, London, where else? Vienna. Yeah, I think Vienna. I've been to Vienna, and the Airbnb market over there is like, how many places? How the hell did this happen? What's going on here? Yeah, I was like that, you know. But that was like, I think a couple of years ago, actually. Maybe it's worse nowadays. I don't know. But basically, when you use Airbnb, literally, like it's like places that could be used for like basically housing. They're used for tourism, pretty much. And I'm like, bro, this house looks cheap. Like I could imagine like a family of 3 people living here, and you're just giving it to like 3 people that would like, you know, be like, you know, basically renting it out for like 2 weeks, pretty much. That's annoying, in my opinion.
Of course, over time, it too became premium focused, with most properties.
I mean, yeah, the properties went up. The prices of properties went up, so the cost of like, you know, Airbnb basically could go up with it, pretty much. Like everything that happened with the housing prices allowed for Airbnb to become expensive, pretty much, I think.
Being rented out without the host actually cohabitating or really even being present at all. Landlords figured out that displacing their tenants to convert their properties into pseudo-hotels gave them a slightly higher rental yield. And that's all they really needed to know.
Okay.
Now, eventually, cities started cracking down on this as housing and
I mean, yeah, that's good. That's good. That should be happening.
Tourist hotspots became catastrophically unaffordable for the people who would actually be supporting the tourists. And as this happened, Airbnb itself started leaning into quality listings, so the cheap end of the platform basically evaporated. Airbnb's own Q4 2025 results show they removed 550,000 low-quality listings between 2023 and the end of 2025.
Okay, I mean, that's good. At the same time, I feel like it's bad. It's like, I'm going back on the argument that I gave like a couple of minutes ago, literally right now, because like, I believe that Airbnb should have a balance between like, you know, it should be like focus on like highly decent, you know, places. But at the same time, I feel like there should be like this lower, you know, lower strata basically of like Airbnb, like, you know, showing like those semi-cheap places that look pretty much very touristy, I would say.
And that listings flagged as guest favorites now accounted for nearly half of all bookings on the platform. What that means is that the accommodations that survived this cleanup were largely already operating like hotels, while everything else got pressured to either move upscale or go out of business.
Oh. He's saying basically that what they did is high quality. Okay, man, I'm not listening to this guy right now, but like I feel stupid. He said basically that all of the high quality listings stayed, and all the low ones were gone. They're like favorites by people, pretty much. So that makes sense. Okay, good things are cheap. And so basically, Airbnb started competing with like proper hotels because of like the high quality, you know, Airbnb listings, pretty much. I guess that makes sense to me. I think. I don't know.
Now, we covered the Airbnb bust on this channel a couple of years ago, but what we didn't mention was the impact that this platform had on hostels, which used to be the bedrock of really affordable international travel. During the golden years where VC subsidized just about everything, a lot of backpackers opted to split a whole Airbnb between a group of friends over sharing a hostel dorm with strangers. And then COVID pretty much finished off whatever demand was left for this kind of cheap and cheerful shared accommodation. The cumulative result is that the budget end of the global accommodation market has basically been hollowed out. New York is probably the cleanest case study of this. NYC enforced Local Law 18 in 2023 to crack down on short-term rentals, and the results have been kind of remarkable. Airbnb listings citywide dropped from around 38,500 to roughly 5,000, a 9.
Bruh, that's actually insane. So basically you cannot like go to New York nowadays without like getting a hotel, pretty much. That's kind of sad.
52% decline. Outer borough listings, Brooklyn, Queens.
Okay, let's see here. So we have 4K for 5 nights. I don't like it. I don't like it. 2K for this. I mean, it's a pretty place. Looks pretty. Looks like a nice place to be. I would not die there, probably. So I guess, like, I don't know. Oh, I personally would say that for 5 nights, maybe minus 500. Minus 500, I'd say, yeah. For 5 nights, 1,500 would be fine, in my opinion. And what about here? This looks fine as well. Cheaper. Just make it cheaper, you know? Like, I mean, I understand why this thing here is, the first one is very expensive, because it's huge. And the second one is also pretty sizable, in my opinion. But, well, it looks pretty sizable. But the third one and fourth one are not really sizable, so they don't really need to be that expensive, in my opinion, at least.
And the Bronx dropped from around 17,000 to about 1,400 over the same window. The 12-month average nightly rate for a hotel room in New York City has hit a record $320. Hotel prices in the city up 12.6% over the last 2 years, which is more than triple the national rate of hotel price.
I would say that is basically double of what it was previously.
Increases. Now, hopefully, it should go without saying that the need for people.
Actually, no, there's the double of what it was like during the low of COVID. So that makes sense. But like prior to that, I was about like maybe 200. So that is basically like a 50% increase. Yeah, that's a 50% increase basically. Okay.
To be able to afford to live in their own city should outweigh the need for tourists to enjoy a cheap hotel room. But unfortunately, the damage was largely already done, and none of this made New York more livable to live in.
I'm sorry, but this is the funniest part. Like, you can crack down on Airbnb, you can do all of that stuff. Housing never improves. What happened? People probably sold the housing to, like, you know, rich guys, and rich guys just said, oh, actually, renting it out is not worth it, you know? Let's just keep it that way.
What did change was who got to visit the city. The neighborhoods that used to host the cheaper Airbnb capacity, places like Crown Heights, Astoria, and the South Bronx, reportedly saw drops of up to 70% in foot traffic, which has hit the local restaurants and small businesses that depend on tourist spending.
Okay.
So that crackdown.
So what I see here is that it basically never benefits anyone when this, like, tourism drops. It doesn't benefit business. Oh, magic. Who knew?
Effectively just routed budget travelers out of the city.
I am one of those people that is like very pro tourism and pro globalization when it comes to like tourism, basically. Like, I believe people should be moving around, right? Not staying in places, just moving around, you know? Like, I'm fine with people moving around.
Entirely, while higher spenders who could afford a Manhattan hotel kept coming. And while New York is the most extreme example, the same logic is playing out at the city level across most of the major tourist destinations in Europe too. Venice now charges day visitors between 5 and 10 euros to enter the city on peak days.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'm not going to Venice.
With the higher rate kicking in if you book closer to the date. Over 720,000 day visitors paid the fee between April and July 2025 alone. Barcelona has bumped its tourist tax to 4 euros a night.
Okay.
The total nightly tax on a higher-end hotel can approach 15 euros once city and regional fees stack up. And Amsterdam is capping cruise traffic to 100 ships in 2026, down from 190 before banning them outright by 2035. Now, individually, none of these fees are devastating, even to the most budget.
I mean, yeah, they are not like that bad, but the fact that you have to like implement those fees is actually pretty it's interesting, and might like boost the economy of that place. You know, it's gonna go into the politician's wallet. You know, but like the fact that it's necessary to do that, and the fact that we are actually allowed for that, and the fact that like it's at some point in the like future, it might like be much like it could go up and up and up and up until you cannot literally enter a city. Yeah, that's kind of insane.
Conscious backpacker, but they do raise the bar in such a way that they can have knock-on impacts across an entire city. If you are visiting Venice for the day with a backpack full of borrowed condiments for sustenance, a couple extra euros a day is a consideration. Hypothetically, of course. I've never done this. But anyway, if you are spending 3 nights in the Amman, the fee is a rounding error. This gradually means that fewer budget and more high-end travelers will accumulate in these centers, which means hotels and restaurants will naturally start accommodating to higher-end clientele, which gradually just makes the entire city a more expensive destination. Now, to play devil's advocate a bit here, to a lot of city centers that have been somewhat overrun by revenge travelers, this is kind of the point. One wealthy couple who spends 30 grand on a week in the city is providing just as much economic value as 1,000 backpackers spending $30 each.
I mean, yeah.
Far less disturbance to the locals. Then, of course, the third factor is the one that gets most of the headlines, and that is oil.
Yeah, oil. Going back to this point, like, I mean, yes, that does make business-wise sense, and like, it's reasonable, I guess, but at the same time, I believe it's going to like make many business owners basically like switch. Basically, I would say like you could have a local business that was there for like 200 years that was serving like decent food that was like not high end, and travelers would go there and it would be like, yeah, this is great, actual traditional cuisine. Instead of that, the business is going to like basically go out because like I think rich people don't really care about the culture of places, basically. That is a big opinion here, but I don't think rich people actually care about opinions. Like, I don't really care about, like, you know, the culture of places. I mean, Americans are really not really culture conscious as well. So this is my jab at Americans, obviously. Actually, many people are not really, like, culture conscious, so whatever. But, like, traditional cuisine basically never ends up in a good place whenever you have like rich people coming in, because they don't really want traditional cuisine. They want fancy cuisine, basically. So what you have is like a restaurant with tradition being swapped out for a high-end restaurant with a star chef that is like, you know, very well known throughout, let's say, the country or something. And yeah, it is what it is, you know. I'm not happy about this, but like this is what happens when money. This is what happens when money happens, you know. I'm not sure if I'm making any sense right now, but yeah. Let's continue with the video. The oil. Okay.
This one is fairly obvious, so I will just get to the point. Jet fuel prices have roughly doubled since the start of the war in Iran, with North American jet fuel up around 95%.
Yeah, it's actually insane, the fact that it doubled.
From about $2.50 a gallon to around $4.56. The International Energy Agency has actually called the disruption through the Strait of Hormuz the largest supply disruption in the history of the global oil market. The relevant thing for our purposes is how those costs get distributed. The marginal cost of fuel in a $10,000 business class seat might be an extra $500. Not nothing, but the kind of customer paying 10 grand for a flatbed is not going to notice the difference. A $700 budget airline ticket.
I mean, yeah, that doesn't make really a difference for a rich guy, honestly.
Getting hit with a $100 fuel surcharge is statistically a much bigger deal. And the carriers are pretty open about this. Spirit literally cited jet fuel doubling in 2 months as a major reason why they couldn't make their March restructuring plan work. And they pointed to fuel costs explicitly when they shut down operations earlier this month. So you can see how the oil shock just gets layered on top of the existing premiumization problem. Premium airlines and premium routes can absorb a fuel spike, where thin margin budget carriers on already cheap routes just can't.
Yeah.
The fourth and final headwind doesn't get talked about much in the travel context, but it does a lot of the heavy lifting, and that is what is happening to the US dollar. For most of the last decade, Americans have been able to lean on a strong dollar to get...
Oh, that's actually true for Americans as well, because the dollar is nowadays much weaker, I would say. It used to be very like strong. Nowadays it's like slowly becoming weaker wherever you go to like places.
Genuinely cheap overseas vacations. That was especially true in places like Japan, where a weakening yen meant an American on a basic salary could spend a week living large, effectively subsidized by the petrodollar. The problem is that when you flood a destination with relatively wealthy dollar tourists, hotels and airlines slowly adjust their prices upwards to capture all that demand.
By the way, this is only Tokyo. Tokyo is pretty expensive. If you go to like Kyoto, I mean, Kyoto actually is pretty expensive as well. If you go to like Osaka, there we go, Osaka. Osaka is actually pretty like not as expensive. Like, actually, it used to not be as expensive at least. Because some hotels that were like you know, very popular with cheap people did raise the price, and now they're not really as cheap. But there are places they have hidden gems over there, you know.
A Tokyo hotel in 2026 is not the same bargain it was in 2022. And now the dynamic is going the other way. The US dollar index has been trading around 97 to 99 through May 2026, well off its record peaks. And Cambridge Currencies is currently forecasting it to drift down towards 90 to 96 by the back end of the year.
I'm sorry for yawning. It's very late at night now. That's actually insane that the dollar is dropping so much. Like, look at this. The post-COVID dollar, pretty stable. And then it just went down from literally like the second half of like from the start of 2025, basically. Boom.
The Federal Reserve's own research on exchange rate elasticities of international tourism makes this pretty intuitive. When the dollar weakens, American outbound travel just gets more expensive in real terms, even when the local currency prices...
I mean, a benefit for Americans could be like that they could like set up more tourism within America, basically, for this. I believe, like, okay, let me be honest. Traveling from New York to, let's say, Washington, right? The state of Washington, is like traveling from, let's say, Spain to Poland, kind of. Like Spain is very dry, Poland is very, like, you know, foresty. New York is not really foresty, but let's say, Washington is much more foresty than that, and let's say this, you know. There's like a pretty shitty argument, I would say, and I have no idea about geography of America. However, traveling places in America is like equivalent of traveling places within EU, pretty much. You know, I'd say that's my argument. Like, also the bonus is all Americans basically speak English, so that's like the easier part, you know. But yeah, I think that this could lead to more tourism within America, basically. Like the same way that in Japan, when yen was weak, Japanese people would just travel throughout Japan, basically. They would go from, like, let's say, during winter, they would go from Tokyo to Hokkaido. During summer, they would go from Tokyo to Okinawa, basically. From, I don't know, during the year, they would go from, like, you know, let's say, what's, like, a good place? From Saitama to, like, Kumamoto, for example. You know? Just traveling places, pretty much. And that's how it worked in Japan. I don't know.
On the destination,
I don't know if it could work the same way in America when the dollar is going to be weaker. Like, I mean, you could travel to Canada if you want, or Mexico. Those are options, you know. You could travel to those as well. So I guess they have more options in America because they don't really need to, like, you know, take a ship or like fly out. They can just, you know, take the drive, basically. I would say take a train, but they don't really have trains over there.
Moved at all. And once again, this hits different parts of the market very differently. People earning a salary can simply afford less vacation for the same dollar amount, even if the foreign prices haven't moved. And anyone who needs to top up their trip with a personal loan is doing so at an interest rate pretty much double what they were 4 years ago. People who are...
That is actually insane. That is like double of what it was like 4 years ago. Insane.
Pretty wealthier in asset terms, like stock portfolios and property, have largely had any dollar weakness offset by their asset gains, and the strong stock market has actually made them more comfortable spending on travel. not less. Now, I just want to quickly mention that a smaller channel by the name of Analyzing Finance with Nick actually made a great video on this dynamic a few weeks ago.
Oh.
He is very straight to the point, but he has done a lot of...
I love that this guy is actually like saying, oh, look at this channel, he talks about this, you know, so you should check him out. This is like such a nice thing to do.
Good deep dives on different topics, and is definitely worth checking out. Now, in real terms, travel is still cheaper than it was 20 years ago. And again, just for a bit of perspective, June 2025 was the second cheapest month for airfares on record. But there is no hard and fast rule that says this has to remain true. And for what it's worth, cheap travel was kind of the one consolation prize for a generation that mostly missed out on the other big consumer wins of the last 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
They might not have got the same shot at home ownership their parents did. Their careers are more precarious, their student debt is heavier in real terms, and they have lived through 3 major recessions. But the...
Yeah. And there's going to be another one, and another one, and another one. Imagine. I'm gonna be so annoyed if in like, well, let's say, what, how many years? Let's say 4 years time? Yeah, let's say 2030, okay? 2030, another recession. Imagine.
One consolation prize they did get, being able to fly anywhere for cheap,
is
now potentially also drying up. But from the market's point of view, this is all working exactly as intended. And if you want further proof of that...
Yeah, it's all working as intended. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer. Yep. That's what is expected, you know? Okay, I'm gonna leave a like. Ooh, that was a fancy animation. I like that. But yeah, I gave this video a like. You should also give this video a like. If you haven't like seen it yourself, you should actually check it out without me yapping. The link to this video is in the description. You should also like check out the comment section. You know, you can like, you know, maybe answer a question I've thrown here in the video, maybe say something nice, maybe say something rude, whatever. You can also leave a like, by the way, if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe, obviously, because yes, you should subscribe to my channel. Because why not? You know, why not? It's free. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.